his name in it before?
The older one is upstairs.
He slept upstairs in that one bed.
Oh, he did? So according to Mike and Goldie, not only did Devil Anse Hatfield shop in this store, he slept upstairs as well. We've got to check this out.
Hey guys, Fred and Sheila McCoy, Hatfield McCoy Museum, FredMcCoy.com. Sheila's behind the camera.
Hi guys, hope you're having a great day.
This is going to be a different video today that we're making, and might take a couple of minutes to get to what we're trying to do. But you should have just shown, or seen a video Sheila put of Mike and Frank from American Pickers. Mike and Frank came in to Goldie and Mike Ray, that is. That's Mike Wolf, and then there's a Mike Ray, which owns Goldie's Hardware, him and Goldie. And American Pickers coming out and done a picking, done a story. They bought a ledger and tried to buy the bed, tried to buy several different items, weather vanes, all kinds of different stuff. They couldn't meet the price that Goldie had put on the items, so they didn't buy very much. Years later, Sheila and I did buy several items from them and paid their price. And I say Sheila and I and the McCoy family, the Hatfield McCoy board, or whatever you want to call it. This is one of the items that we purchased, and we're going to show you some segments on that video of this bed. But this bed was put into this house or building. Let me have it there a second. I might be able to reach it better. There is Goldie's and Mike's hardware store nowadays. Now that building was built back in the 1880s, and it was built by Wall Hatfield, Valentine Wall Hatfield's daughter, Nancy Hatfield Steele. Her and her husband built that building. There's the building in its Mayday or heyday, with a bunch of people out in front of it, mostly Hatfields at that time. There is the bed that we're talking about. Now, we have done a video on this way back, but that building, and I'll show you a paper that we got off the internet that was well, here's some of it. I think that's Scotty May right there. If you remember Hatfield McCoy Moonshiners, there's Dean King standing on the porch of Goldie's. And of course, there's the bed itself. I won't try to get all them, Sheila. If you don't care, I'll let you go through and get the pictures and the letter of authenticity. Everything here, we will try to close in and get everything that relates to this bed. The reason we're putting this bed out there is we're going to put this bed needs to be in West Virginia. This bed needs to be in Devil Anse Hatfield country. Now, we know there's a lot of talkers. Talk's cheap, money speaks. A lot of talkers out there about what things are worth, and there's a lot of items that people has got that they claim to be this or that, or associated with this or that. There's not a Devil Anse item out there more authenticated than this bed right here. Now you got to understand, when Nancy Hatfield built that building, there was a bedroom up front here. This is where that bed was at, in that front bedroom right there. And around here on the other side was another bed that we've also got upstairs. Devil Anse slept in that front room. There was no way, no access to get to Devil Anse there without crawling up on the roof, and he would have heard that. you would have had to went up the stairs on the inside and come around. If you went up the stairs and come around, there was another bed, another room. And that's where Jim Vance, Cap, Johnsy, ever who was with Devil Anse at that time as his bodyguard, that's where they would have stayed. And Devil Anse would have stayed on the interior room where nobody could have gotten to him. This is the bed that was up there. This bed was placed in that building in 1880 when they built that store. And those two beds were there until Sheila and I purchased them from Mike and Goldie Ray many years ago and put them in the Hatfield McCoy Museum when it was in Renfro Valley. So this bed, without a doubt, this is where the bed that Devil Anse Hatfield slept in on many occasions. When Devil Anse moved away from Island Creek, or moved away from Mate Creek, and moved to Island Creek, anytime he would come back to Straight Fork, Double Camp, Metter, Beach Creek. Remember, Wall lived on Beach Creek. That's where his family was from. Anytime Devil Anse was in that area, because he now lived over on Island Creek, that was his home. Anytime he was in this area, he stayed in that building right there. She had a grocery store and a hardware store, a country store. You ever seen, what's Sheila's favorite movie? The Olsons. Little House on the
Prairie. Yeah.
Little House on the Prairie. If you've ever seen Little House on the Prairie, that is your old country store. And up top of that country store, downstairs was dry goods, material, feed, just about anything you could think of. That was a necessity back then that people didn't make themselves. If it was store-bought, it would have been in that country store. Remember, back in those days, a lot of people made their own ingredients. You know, Mike Wolf makes a comment. Everybody knows how I drift, but we're not going to be in no hurry on this video because I want to give you some history. But Mike Wolf makes a comment on that video, and I'm just going to take up for the Hatfields, the West Virginia Hatfields. And people says I don't do that a lot. When I have occasion to, when I have a reason, I do it. Mike Wolf makes a comment. He says he's looking through these ledgers. Hilmer Frank 1 says, I see everything here, sugar, coffee, shoes. I see everything here. I don't see soap. Nobody bought soap. As to imply that the West Virginia Hatfields or Devil Anse's group, or at least the people that shopped at Nancy Hatfield's store, they didn't buy soap. There would be no soap on any of those ledgers. There would have been no reason to buy soap because back in those days, what did people do, Sheila?
They made their own.
They made their own soap. And, you know, that was just something in the video to throw a stab out there at Appalachia, throw a stab at West Virginia, throw a stab at the West Virginia Hatfields. But there would have been no soap on those ledgers because people made their own soap at home. Now, let's get on with this bed. In that movie, in that American Pickers show, you're going to see Mike Wolf himself lay on this bed. She'll show you pictures of that. Plus, we'll show you a little skit of the movie without getting into the copyright of it.
Okay.
You'll see that bench there. You'll see this table. You'll see the clocks. You'll see all kinds. Now, you've got to understand, upstairs is where Sheila and I bought. I say Sheila and I. Sheila and I was the purchasers. Sheila and I was the representatives. Sheila and I was the people that went and done the dealing. The McCoy family bought many items from Goldie and Mike. We bought a lot of items. When Mike and Frank was there, they wanted to buy stuff. It wasn't for sale, or it had such a high price that they was not going to pay it. And they lost. They lost out. Now, years later, the building started deteriorating. The roof started leaking. Mike and Goldie's health started failing them. Since then, Mike and Goldie both have passed away.
Yeah.
They're both deceased.
Yeah.
Through those years, though, Sheila and I bought many items. They're upstairs, from the sign off the front of the building
Yep.
to the weather vane to Nancy Hatfield Steele's cane, her boots, her bonnet, her pipe, purse. So many items that we bought that has strings or attachments to the Hatfields from that area, especially Walt Hatfield's family. Now, what Sheila and I, without dragging this out, what Sheila and I have decided to do, along with the others involved in the museum, is we're going to take bids. We're going to take offers on this bed. At one time, the family had talked about selling the museum. Since Mother's passed away, we know everything's just not the same. And so there's a lot of Hatfield items in here that we got. Several of them we got from Stephen Hatfield, who was Devil Anse Hatfield's great-grandson. I want to so bad get on some DNA and get on some other ones that claim to be Devil Anse Hatfield's great-grandsons, but I won't. I won't go there. But I will tell you this, those so-called great-grandsons have the opportunity right now to buy the only bed in history. You know, there's another one just come up a while back, said this is Devil Anse's gun. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. They said that's the Devil Anse's gun that's in that picture. No, it ain't. Two different models, two different guns, two different distinctions. We've proved that in videos. I won't go there. But that's the thing is, people would rather go out and buy something and then say this is connected to Devil Anse than they would to actually spend the money and buy something that's authenticated. Pay that extra money. Oh yeah, it's not going to be cheap. If you own this bed, you're going to pay for it. The family paid for it. We had to pay for it. If somebody ever owns this bed, they're going to pay for it. But you can at least own it now. There's some items that people said, and once upon a time, Sheila and I were like that, along with Mother. My mother, she was as collectible as I am, or Sheila. And once you get something, you just hate to get rid of it, especially when it's one of a kind. You know, you don't have to have a museum to put this in. You just have to have a room and live in that area. And put you up a sign out front and says, see the bed that Devil Anse Hatfield slept in. You don't have to have an entire museum, especially an entire museum made up of items that's not authenticated. This bed's authenticated. There's never been a dispute, never been a doubt that this bed wasn't put there when they built the building, that it stayed there till Sheila and I and the family took it out. That Devil Anse Hatfield slept in it, and it's authenticated. There's very few items that a person can say, we know this is this, we know this is that. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. Like I said, American Picker's done the story on it. Goldie and Mike gives the story on it. On one of these walls somewhere, Wendy Richardson was on, I copied it off of her page, which is Bill Richardson's wife. Bill Richardson was the, he's also in the movie there. He's the one that set up the appointment for American Pickers to come and go through the old general store with Mike and Goldie Ray. There's never been a dispute that this is not Devil Anse Hatfield's bed at one time. That Devil Anse Hatfield actually slept on this bed. How many times? Who knows? Anytime he was there in that area and he was hiding out, he needed a place to go, that's where he would go to. Instead of making the long journey back to Island Creek, on horseback especially, he would spend the night, or maybe 2 nights, or whatever he was doing business on. And Sheila's going to finish up with a bunch of pictures, some other video, And you've probably seen, she's probably inserted some other videos throughout my speech here on little tidbits of showing the bed and this and that. This segment, if you want to see the entire segment of American Pickers, it's season 6, episode 4, or season 4, episode 6. I can't remember. One or the other. Hatfields and McCoys. And Sheila will finish up from here.
And there it is. Frank, you dare me?
Get on in there. You're kind of like, watch out.
Yeah. Let me see here.
Hard night, that'd be all right, wouldn't it?
Yeah. This is where the man slept right here.
Sheila and I have moved upstairs now to the other part of the Goldie hardware collection, the old store from Nancy. We've done videos on Goldie's. We've done videos on Anse Hatfield steel. We've got her purse, her pipe, her all kinds of personal possessions that she left in the store. At the end of this video, Sheila's going to show you several pictures, several photos of different things and different items. But what this video here is about, if you haven't picked up on it yet, is the bed that's downstairs, the Devil Anse Hatfield bed, the bed that Devil Anse slept on a regular basis when he was in that area, when he was running from the law, whatever he might have been doing. That was his hideout at one time. The family is going to put that bed up for auction. There's no time limit on it. If it ever meets, there's going to be a reserve on it, just like there was on the motorcycle. And you know the old saying, nothing comes for free. It's not neither. And if the museum, the McCoy family ends up keeping it for the museum, it's not going to break anybody's heart. They're going to be okay with that. But there's been several people that's called or texted or wrote over the time, and they'll see a counter downstairs, or the Popcorn Sutton collection. The Popcorn Sutton collection, that's a collection of all of its own. In fact, we'll probably do a video on that later, but that collection is for sale. The motorcycle that we once had on eBay, it didn't bring but $36,000, but it's still up for sale. So any of these items that you see that people have contacted us about, so we said, hey, let's start with something that's authenticated, something that the West Virginia Hatfields or West Virginia community should love to have in that area. If they've got a place to exhibit or show something as important as Devil Anse's bed. So we said, well, we'll throw it up for auction. The family says, we'll put a reserve on it. If it don't meet the reserve, it don't sell. Because some of the family, to be honest with you, don't want to sell anything. They'd just soon keep it all. And that's fine. If we do, we do. But again, mine and Sheila's is our children, grandchildren. But so to us, we're just, we're not going to open probably this year. 1 minute we say we are, 1 minute. But Sheila and I are probably going to travel a little bit, and nobody else is really wanting to undertake that part. And it would have to be somebody that's a stockholder or into the museum. I know what I said just now. I'm going to start getting these texts. Hey, I'll run it for you. Hey, I can do this today. It's not just Sheila and I. In fact, Sheila and I probably have the least amount of say in it. This is owned by the family, by the LLC. And it's not going to, if it's not one of the family members, it's not going to happen. If you're interested in that bed downstairs, Devil Anse's bed, you can either text, call, message, write, anything like that. All of our information is at fredmccoy.com. And put in a bed. We're not going to tell you what the reserve is. I wanted to. Some of the people that's involved don't want to. But if you meet the reserve, then we'll tell you. That's if you want it for that, we're going to accept your offer. And if it's not, then Sheila and I are to say, I'm sorry, we'll write your name down here and we'll put the amount And if the family decides that they want to do something different, they can notify you. But we honestly don't think that it's going to, the reserve is going to go any lower than it is for an item such as Devil Anse's bed. We just don't think. Now, I don't mean it's over the top. That don't mean it's outrageous. But to some people, they're going to say it's up there. To somebody that's got a little bit of money, they're going to say, hey, that's a drop in the bucket to have something like that. Especially if you're from West Virginia. Especially if you're a West Virginia Devil Anse Hatfield fan. And especially if you're in that area where you can show it, because you could charge to see that item. Guys, we have people contact us all the time wanting to see the museum. We're sorry. Sheila and I are just not interested. Since Mother passed away, Mother lived with Sheila and I the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And we can't hardly go into a room without something of Mother being there. We was looking at pictures a while ago. Mother, and she'll post it at the end. You can barely see the bed. I know we've got better ones somewhere. But Mother, our mother, put a bedspread and fixed Devil Anse's bed up. You'll see where she's at. You'll look at the white rails on the side of the pictures. You can barely see it, but that's the Devil Anse bed. When we had it at another location, and instead of her showing it like we bought it with just the linen on it,
I hear.
right here, this is the way we bought the bed, and that's the way we had it going to show it. Now remember that picture, because she'll post that one too, but then you'll see a picture of my mother there, and she's made this bed up with a bedspread and with a pillow, and it looks like it's a modern day bed. We want it to look like it is, like we bought it, it's been for since 1880. Other than that, Sheila's going to post a bunch of pictures at the end. Only thing you'll see that bench that sits right over here. That movie that you need to go watch is episode 6, season 4, or season 6, episode 4.
Season 6, episode 4.
Okay, season 6, episode 4. And you can see that on, what's that? It's hard to find on YouTube.
Peacock?
Peacock. You have to go to Peacock. And I think it's $4, but you can see the entire episode of American Pickers when they're on that bed. That's about all I've got, guys. If you got any questions, you can call and ask or text. Again, we won't give the reserve. If you want to make a bid, and then you can do that. And other than that, we'll see you at the next one.
having a great day. Please like, subscribe, and share. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye.